so far, that efficiency has been gained by creating custom interfaces that can interact with all of your data. And today, we're just seeing that the way we solve this problem is evolving with AI agents.
AI agents could be replacing humans' work, and how can humans sort of adapt to that?
Today, I still believe that humans are an integral part of the AI workflows, and they're key in becoming the orchestrator for these workflows.
It's making things easier for sure, but are humans losing their jobs?
Hard skills are being democratized with this huge technology shift.
That also brings a lot of cybersecurity concerns.
Honestly, the biggest risk with AI is that the AI system tends to become a honeypot. We're also baking in defensive AI agents internally that are moderating every LLM response to figure out whether it's actually a bad actor.
Welcome to the Tech Transform podcast, where we have a weekly conversation with people impacting the enterprise tech landscape. My name is Shubhangi Dua, a tech journalist and editor at EM360 Tech. This episode, I'm speaking with Nikhil Nandagopal, the co-founder and CPO at Appsmith. Today, we are here to talk about one of the most exciting and emerging trends of the year, AI agents, and their potential to fundamentally change the future of work. Hi, Nikhil. How are you today?
Hi, Shubhangi. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Really excited to be here and talking to you about AI agents.
It's making a lot of noise this year, but with excitement also comes a little bit of apprehension and fear. So I guess my first question to you would be, in your opinion, what is the most significant shift you see AI agents bringing to the way we work and interact with technology? And what sparked your particular interest in this area?
To begin, maybe I can just define what an AI agent is, right? So an AI agent is an autonomous entity that has been given a goal, some context or information about the task, and a few tools that help it achieve the goal, right? And then it's able to begin to take actions and give you answers based on all of this context and tools because it's trying to optimize for that goal. Now, the biggest shift that I see is that work is now becoming more centralized because you don't need to go to various different products to actually access your data. The challenge today and the reason that we have so many different SaaS applications and so many different internal tools is because all of our data is decentralized, right? We have sales accounts inside Salesforce. We have user information for those same accounts inside our internal Postgres database. We have payment related information inside Stripe. We have customer support related information for those same accounts inside Zendesk. And just to get a simple task done, you're now running between 3 or 4 different applications, right? And that can be quite cumbersome. With AI agents, however, we're kind of seeing this centralization of all of this data and a much simpler interface to consume in this information. The reason we needed all of these different applications is because the workflows and the way that we consume data in these different applications is very unique. And it had to be that way because we needed to create custom dashboards. But with AI agents, what we're seeing is all of this actually get condensed into a single conversational interface. And I think that's quite exciting. And honestly, I think you also asked me, why Appsmith really, that what's gotten us so excited about this. I think for us, the reason that we're really excited is because this has kind of been a core part of our mission as an organization, which is to help other organizations improve their efficiency. And so far, that efficiency has been gained by creating custom interfaces that can interact with all of your data. And today, we're just seeing that the way we solve this problem is evolving with AI agents because you may not need as many custom interfaces. You can now begin to work with more conversational interfaces that can still help you improve your organization efficiency. And so that's why we're really excited about this space.
So when you say conversation interfaces, what do you exactly mean? Can you just expand on that a little bit?
We as humans, we're used to conversing with each other. Sometimes it can be textual in Slack. It could be on WhatsApp. It could be inside Teams. It could be our email, right? And we find that that is the most natural way for us to actually interact with each other to share information as well as get work done. So rather than having a variety of dashboards that are able to show you charts, are able to show you forms, are able to show you tables, and then you're trying to make sense of all of this information, all of these are being condensed into simpler interfaces. Think of yourself being able to ask something on chat inside Slack, let's say, hey, can you tell me what was yesterday's revenue numbers? Or how have we been trending in terms of user signups? Or what was the last support issue that this particular account had? So rather than trying to dig through this information across various tools, you can simply go to a conversational interface and begin to access all of this information.
Earlier, you also talked about assisted workflows where AI supports humans. But does that also mean that there is AI agents could be replacing humans' work? And how can humans sort of adapt to that, and particularly in critical areas like customer support? Can you elaborate on how these assisted workflows function in practice?
I think that at least today, I don't believe the technology has reached a level where we are actually able to get AI agents to be truly autonomous in that they're able to reason through very fuzzy goals and tasks, and they're able to take actions and decide what is the right outcome of them on their own. At least right now, the most value we are seeing is from AI agents behaving in a more instructional manner where humans are able to instruct them to particular tasks. And because they have certain context, they have certain actions that they can take, they are now able to understand how they should go ahead and act upon this. So today, I still believe that humans are an integral part of the AI workflows, and they're key in becoming the orchestrator for these workflows, as well as they're key in becoming the moderator to help improve these workflows. Because there are times when we also know that AI agents may not give us the right answer. And it's crucial to have a human in the loop that's able to review the AI output and then take an action. I could also show you a little bit about how we're doing this inside AppsMith as a platform and just show you one very cool, interesting use case that we're building.
Yeah, let's see it.
So this is a Salesforce interface, and typically we have account managers, we have success managers, all coming to this interface to get information. Right, this is where they do work. But unfortunately, all the data that they require is not inside Salesforce. As I talked before, some account related information is going to be inside Salesforce, but the users who are maybe using the product from that account might actually be inside your Postgres database. Similarly, the contract of this particular account might be in a Google Drive somewhere with the pricing information and the pricing tiers, right? And unfortunately, when it's time for renewal, an account manager needs to come and find all of this information in a single place. And they're not going to be able to do that in Salesforce. So what we've done is we've actually created an AI agent right here that can be accessed directly inside Salesforce, right? And users, our key hypothesis and our key thesis for this particular product is that the agent should work where you are and not have to make you go to various tabs. Because the key challenge today is that all of your data is decentralized and you want a single interface to access this information. So here, all of the account managers can come to a single place and they can ask the AI agent a single question from a conversational interface. So this is what we meant by a conversational interface. Rather than having to navigate this complicated Salesforce application, try to figure out where the account is, try to figure out where the contract is, try to figure out who the contact person is, we're able to simply go ahead and ask the AI agent over here, can you please give me an overview of the Zoomcast account, right? And it's able to give us the overview of the account, but it's also able to next go ahead and pull up all the pricing as well as product related information as to who's using our product for this particular account. And this information does not lie in Salesforce. All of this information actually lies inside our Postgres database. It lies inside our Google documents, and it's still able to give us a really good answer for all of this, right? And finally, it's also able to help us draft an email to go ahead and renew this particular Zoomcast account. And it's able to then send the email as well to the account owner, all from a single point. So we're really centralizing the way that work is done without needing to go to various tools and without needing to lose context of this one particular account. And this is just part of it. We can actually customize these agents for various use cases like customer support, HR onboarding, IT department provisioning. All of that can be rolled into various AI agents and deployed with the click of a button today.
That sounds really great. And it sounds like a lot of people working for the particular company using this tool are saving time and they can focus on a lot of complex tasks. But at the same time, this makes me wonder more about the human elements. Like, it's making things easier for sure, but are humans losing their jobs? Like, how should enterprises and individuals prepare for such inevitable shifts in the job market? With AI becoming so integrated into our work lives?
That's a great question. And I think in the short run, it may seem like that because AI will begin to do more work. But I think in the long run, the types of jobs that even exist will begin to evolve and new job opportunities will open up, right? And we need to adapt to begin filling those new roles and identifying those new roles to actually make this reality a success. One of the examples just internally in AppSmith itself is while we have, an agent built out with our agent builder that does a lot of the heavy lifting, our support team actually works really well with the agent because their roles have now shifted from being the people who would help resolve the customer query to now being the people who actually ensure that the bot has the right context to give the right answer, as well as to moderate the agent in various situations and to be able to take care of certain high escalation situations. Like if a customer says, hey, my account information is wrong, can you please update my billing information? Or if they say that, hey, my license expired, I'm still on my trial, could you please extend it for a couple of days, right? And so in those cases, the agent is actually able to escalate it to the support person internally. They are now able to begin acting upon it. So I think that fundamentally, in AppSmith, like the role of the support person itself has changed. And that's how we kind of need to think about it. Knowledge workers themselves, they need to understand the capabilities, the limitations, the challenges with every new AI breakthrough because the pace is just evolving so quickly. Or rather, what was not possible yesterday is suddenly possible tomorrow. And it's really important to be aware of these breakthroughs, upskill themselves, and be flexible to understand where they can now begin to apply themselves to embrace this new reality. One of the things that I keep saying is that I really believe that hard skills are being democratized with this huge technology shift. When I say hard skills, what I'm talking about is simply writing code, designing prototypes, writing PRDs, creating marketing collateral. I think these are the kind of skills that are being democratized, and the future will basically reward the skills that are kind of more soft in nature, such as being able to provide clear instructions, because AI actually does much better when you're able to create clear instructions. It'll reward people who understand customer needs very deeply and who are able to understand how to work across various systems and orchestrate them to actually deliver value to customers. So I see like there are these shifts from hard skills to more soft skills happening, and more generalists who are able to leverage AI, who are able to see the gaps, who are able to evolve faster. I think they are the ones who will reap the most benefits in the new market.
Regarding that, I feel like, well, there are times where people, especially like mathematicians, they train in math for so long, and then there comes a point when automation makes such tasks easier, and sometimes people do forget their roots. Do you think, like, to put it very bluntly, does AI make humans dumber?
So AI is a tool that gives you an output. AI over reliance on any output without understanding the fundamental roots and the derivation of it will certainly lead to non first principles thinking and will kind of tend you to only believe the output, but not like whether it's actually reasoned through. It's kind of no different from looking at, let's say, information on social media and kind of forming your opinion based on simply the output of everybody else. You also need to have some critical thinking to actually analyze beneath the hood. Hey, did it actually make sense? What are the underlying facts? How did they come to this particular conclusion, right? And I think that is extremely important. So even with AI agents, I treat it as another person out there who has some limited knowledge, but you also need to be able to dissect and understand their critical thinking and evaluate whether the information that they're giving you is right or not. So it's you cannot believe it as a trusted advisor. You need to still apply your own critical thinking to analyze whether it's right or not.
Thank you for clarifying that. But also, like AI agents, they have access to a lot of data, so they can train and they can do the efficient job for us and make it easier for us. But that also brings a lot of cybersecurity concerns. And we know of strategies like just-in-time data provision and strong role-based access control to tackle such security concerns. But can you provide a practical example of how AppSmith is executing these security measures to mitigate risks, particularly regarding the potential AI threat actors, like AI fighting AI?
The one of the honestly the biggest risk with AI is that the AI system tends to become a honeypot. So a honeypot is basically an extremely valuable system that has a lot of sensitive information, right? And because everybody's information is going to one system, it suddenly becomes worthwhile for an external entity to actually begin to reverse engineer and gain access to it. Because if you gain access to it, you get a lot of information, right? And I think one of the key stance that we've taken early on, not just with our agent builder product, but with this fundamental AppSmith itself, is being self-hosted first. We make it really easy for our customers to host AppSmith and the agent builder inside their own VPC. And this kind of ensures that, firstly, it's completely decentralized, right? So it's not all customer data in a single place. Every customer has their own data secured, as well as they're able to secure behind their own firewalls, behind their own VPC, behind their own set of safeguards and InfoSec rules. I think that's like a huge leap. Especially, we're making this even easier now with all of these new self-hosted models coming up. Like there's Llama that you can self-host, there's DeepSeek, there's even OpenAI that you can deploy on if you have an Azure instance. And all of that makes it even more secure, so long as you're kind of following some of these best practices and your large organization. So it really depends on the scale of organization, but typically when you reach enterprise grade, you do kind of need to think about how are you deploying these LLMs, these vector stores, all of this information behind your own VPC so that you can actually gain the benefits out of it while staying secure. The second strategy that I'd like to talk about is, you mentioned just in time. And I think that's really crucial because a lot of people actually think about AI as training it, that we need to feed it a lot of data. We need to essentially create a whole new model or a fine-tuned model for ourselves. At AppSmith, we've adopted a different approach by feeding AI only the data that it requires when it requires it, right? So whether it's via tool calls, whether it's via RAG, it kind of mitigates the amount of data that's sent to it. And therefore, strategies like prompt hacking can't actually, or it reduces the surface area to those type of strategies. But also, all of these are ingrained with fine-grained access controls, such as, we define user groups and roles for every users inside these organizations. And we assign which of these users have access to which bits of data. So that way, even inside an organization, there's no way that a user who should not have access to certain sensitive information, such as financial data or maybe user PII, is even able to use prompt hacking to go ahead and get access to that information. So these are some of the things that we employ, but we're also baking in defensive AI agents internally that are moderating every LLM response to figure out whether it's actually a bad actor. Is it trying to get some information from the LLM? Should we go ahead and flag this and escalate to a human so that they can actually intervene? And that's why we have a variety of moderation dashboards that we also empower customers with so that they can go ahead and also build some of these tools out.
You talked about DeepSeek earlier. When DeepSeek kind of became the biggest thing in the world, it became a trend. I think it was about a month or two ago when we just heard of it and OpenAI stocks dropped. A day or two after its launch, official launch, it was attacked. There was a cyber attack on it. And then obviously data community was concerned, and DeepSeek did not even issue a long statement regarding it. So these things do tend to happen. And I guess what I want to ask you is how, in such cases, when an AI system within itself has the power to tackle such cyber attacks, but for some reason is unable to, how can enterprises be prepared for it? And how can they prepare their workforce for it? How would you at AppSmith do it?
The DeepSeek example is actually a very good example of a honeypot. Now, if you look at like why that actually happened, it was simply because DeepSeek as a product became extremely popular, and we found out that a lot of companies are beginning to adopt it and beginning to use it. So now that becomes a worthy system for a third party to actually try to gain access to, right? So for me, like, again, the first strategy over here is to not go with a centralized system. So, take DeepSeek and actually self-host it inside your own firewall. So that way, suddenly it's a less valuable proposition for somebody to go tackle or try to gain access to every single self-hosted version of DeepSeek versus the simple cloud version, which, it becomes a honeypot and has everybody's information over there. I would say, like, in this case, that's one of the key strategies that people need to employ and think about for themselves. And without doing that, I would not recommend putting any of your, sensitive credentials or sensitive documents inside a cloud version, simply because that it is going to be vulnerable to various methods such as prompt hacking and potentially even taking down that service. There are pretty common strategies out there how to prevent this, but the truth is that the space is evolving so quickly, and as new strategies are being developed, counter strategies are also being developed, right? And so this is just one of those cases where we have to try and be ahead of the curve, but also kind of realize that because it is shifting so quickly, we're going to have to try and have other defensive measures such as self-hosting and making sure that it's behind our own VPC.
And I suppose that's where hard skills of some humans do also come into play. You still have to retain the past to maintain the future. So continuing on that futuristic aspect itself, looking 5 to 10 years ahead, what's your ideal vision for AI agents in the workplace? Beyond task automation, how do you see AI agents fundamentally changing the nature of knowledge work and problem solving?
So, I think the biggest accelerant is going to be context. When you think about why organizations are slow, it's because they have so much context that's siloed within individuals as tribal knowledge, as well as other data systems, right? And this is also why when you look at organizations, you'll typically see that it's founders who are able to, almost do anything. It almost seems like the founder has a superpower and they're able to get so many different things done. The reason that's the case is simply that they have so much organizational context that they understand how it all works and they know exactly where to go and what to do and which data is where, right? With AI, I think that it's going to be able to bridge all of these different knowledge silos, right? And enable teams to solve problems much faster because it's going to be able to give every individual in the organization the same context level. So whether somebody in marketing has information of the leads that we got last month, somebody in sales has some information about what feedback customers are seeing, a product manager inside that org has access to all of this information without even having to speak to the marketing team, having to speak to the sales team, having to dig through their own dashboards and figure out all this information. Because the AI agent has all of this context, they're able to streamline all of this work and give them those answers. So I think that is what I envision as the future of work with AI. The biggest accelerant is going to be how do we create a shared level of context across everybody inside an organization. And I think we're certainly heading towards that.
Okay, that was a great answer. If you could summarize one key takeaway in 60 seconds from our conversation today for CIOs, what would it be and why?
I think it would be that the way we do work is fundamentally changing, and we need to let go of the baggage of our past. It could be the baggage related to how teams are structured, how our data is stored, how we've architected various processes to get work done, even how we think about data security, for example. And I think the organizations who will be able to make the best use of this AI opportunity will be the ones who are able to embrace this change in a safe, reliable manner. So that's what I would kind of tell every CIO listening to this.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nikhil, for joining us today. I appreciate you coming on, and also thank you to everyone listening. We hope you took away a lot from today's conversation. For further information on what we've talked about, please head over to appsmith.com. We'll be back next week with another episode in our podcast series. Until then, make sure you subscribe to this podcast on all major platforms and follow the conversation on our socials at EM360Tech on X and LinkedIn. And for more great daily content, head on over to em360tech.com. Thank you so much.